child support and the way I see it on this segment of It's Scary to Remarry. What's up, Bravehearts community? This is Shon Hyneman here with another segment of It's Scary to Remarry, wanting you to love fearlessly. And as I said before, I wanted to talk about child support and the way I see it, because over the years, the way I see paying child support, I know this can be a sensitive subject, but let's talk about it. I don't want to get too deep into like the courts and what different states say about it. I want to talk about it from a personal level and basically, just kind of renewing your mind about the way we see child support, because a lot of guys and women too, it can become a sensitive place where you're really struggling with being okay with giving the child mother a certain amount of money a month or vice versa. Because anytime money is coming out of your paycheck, it can cause some frustration. Now, remember, you know my story. I have went through a divorce and I had to pay child support. I paid child support for about a year. Had to pay alimony for a year. So to those who are paying those things, I feel your pain. I've been there. I got the t-shirt for it. I get it. I get the frustration. But I will say this, now that I'm a little bit older, a little more mature, I would say I think it's necessary to hold the parent accountable to pay child support. I think if you just let the parent off and they're not paying anything, I think that allows you to let that person be irresponsible. Because if they don't have no repercussions and they just having kids everywhere and they aren't being held accountable, they're just going to keep repeating the same behavior. So I do think paying child support, it helps keep that parent accountable. And when you're out here having kids, you should want to take care of your seed, regardless of what's going on in the mom's house or in the dad's house, because a lot of times we try to control the child support payments when it comes to their house. Like, why he doesn't have the new Jordans, or why he don't have this. I'm paying you this amount of money a month. Like, you try to control the money. But depending on how much that the court has awarded that parent, there's so many different things that come into play, from daycare to food to diapers, especially if the child is young. So if you're only paying a certain amount of money, that child support money is really going to just help aid. It's not going to cover everything because kids are expensive. Now, many times the mother had a child full time, say from 0 to 5 years old. The mom is going to have the child more than likely, because the mom and maybe even the court maybe don't trust the dad within those first 5 years, especially being a single parent, because the child might need breastfeeding. Like, the child is up at night, they don't know night from day yet. There's so many things that I believe a lot of men can't handle that moms can just know by default. So I think sometimes if you have a child that's from a newborn to possibly 5, the court, and I would even say it's probably even safer for the child to be with their mom, just because they understand the things that the child need in those early infancy stages. Now, I do think as the child get older, they should stay with dad, so the dad can teach the child certain lessons about being a young man, or helping them be a young lady, what to look out for as they get older. But when they're younger, I do believe that moms, they are very necessary and vital in those first couple of years from 0 to 5. It's best just not to play with child support. As I was doing the research on this, I was looking up at urban.org, and they said the court can take up to 65% of a father's wages. Child support can intercept tax returns. They can place liens on parents' assets. They can suspend driver's license or any other professional licenses. So when you aren't paying child support, these are the things that you can get hit with that can really cripple you financially, and even play on into your household. And then the sad thing is, many times parents use kids as leverage to get what they want, when the child is the only one that's going to suffer. right? We use our kids as these as leverage, and it's not helping the child, because once they get older, they're going to have questions. They're going to want to know certain things, and kids deal with a lot of stress when they are growing up in broken homes, and then even single parent homes. That's not saying that a single parent can't raise their child, but I believe that a child can be more effective when they do have mom and dad in the house, in a healthy household, because you can have two parents in the house and they can still be dysfunctional. Now, if a man says she won't let me see my child, sometimes it's true. I've been there. And as I said before, sometimes, the parent will use leverage. A lot of times the mom will use leverage to get what they want from the dad. And sometimes the guys, they get tired of fighting. They like, you know what? I can't see my child or whatever. They just give up. They get tired of fighting. Well, you know what? Because they're not dealing with you anyway. They done with you. They done moved on. So they just like, you know what? I'm not fighting anymore. I'm going to move on. You can keep the child. Some guys are like that, unfortunately. But I will say, as I was doing some research, and even people that I know, that if the dad and the mom gets along, chances are the dad doesn't have a problem with paying the child support. And then he would even go on above and beyond to go to give more than just the child support. Like, he would give his monthly child support or every 2 weeks, and he would make sure that the child has shoes and clothes. He would go above and beyond just paying the child support that month, because the mother and the father has a rapport. Like, he understands that as the mom, she's going to do her best to help take care of her child. So that's why I think it's important. One reason I think it's important that the mother and the father get along. Now, I will say that if you married and you got a divorce, just pay the child support. I feel like if that was somebody that you married and somebody you had a child with, somebody you said I do with, and you was in a delivery room for this child, and you're having a problem with paying child support, I believe that you do owe that to that parent. You, at least, the bare minimum, you should at least want to take care of your child and pay the child support, regardless of what you have going on in your life. Now, the thing with child support is it can really break someone who are in low income brackets. Say if you're making less than $50,000 a year, maybe $40,000 a year. It just depends on the state that you live, right? Child support can be the difference between living on your own and having to live with a roommate or living at home with parents. Because paying child support can really put a dent in your finances if you aren't careful, and especially if you aren't prepared for what the judge is going to have you pay in child support. So I just hope that this video was able to help someone going through this process. I understand it's easy to be mad, it's easy to be bitter, it's easy to be resentful, but I had to learn myself, and even in my personal life. So that's why I'm doing this video, that my mind is renewed in the area of child support. And I do believe that if you do have a child, it's important that you just take care of the child instead of running and being irresponsible and not working because you don't want to pay child support. That's just being irresponsible. You created the child. The least you can do is make sure that he's taken care of at the bare minimum. This is Shon Hyneman at It's Scary to Remarry. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, share this video with a friend. You can also find this in podcast form. If you don't have time to watch the video, you can listen to this on Apple Podcasts. You can listen to this on Spotify. Anywhere where you find podcasting platforms, leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. I would love to hear from you. Leave an honest review. Let me know how the podcast is helping you, or any ways that I can improve. I will hear from you. I will talk to you soon, people. Take care.